field below my old chicken farm here at the house where I live. This field's about 40 acres. My daddy farmed this whenever I was a youngster. I think his farming expedition played out in about 83 or something like that, 84. Before Goodrich closed anyway. My dad's helping me again today. He's using 970. We never have got his air conditioner to work. I was in camp all last week, except for Monday. Tuesday was nice. I was really busy Tuesday. Never had to do anything on the farm. They finished baling my hay. That was the last video I put up with me hauling it. Hay ride number 2. My dad's dad cleared all this ground. Actually, he bought all this ground, and it was woods when he bought it. Old brushy stuff, and this 100 acres, and he pretty near cleared all of it. He left quite a few trees. This down in here, though, was good enough to farm, and he farmed it. Like I say, there's about 40 acres here. It goes all the way to the woods at the back, and then there's a tree row along the north side here. We're just now in the first field. I've got a picture. Maybe I'll make it the thumbnail of this. And it's my grandpa and his 2 brothers, Tommy and Fred. And they're standing along the road in this field, which is the state line road of Missouri, Oklahoma, and we're just about 3 miles south of the state of Kansas. And the whole field behind them is in haystacks. They used to stack it and either just feed it out of the stacks, go back and get the stacks in the wintertime, or else they got a stationary baler to come by and they pick them stacks up, put it on a wagon, and haul it to the stationary baler and have it baled. I would imagine that was the time whenever they were just using it out of the stacks. So they cut it off probably with a horse-drawn sycamore, and then a lot of the time they used a bull rake or something like that, but I'm kind of assuming those guys may have just used pitchforks by how close the stacks are together. So I'll put that in here. It's kind of interesting picture. Been doing this in my family. I got to go to the courthouse and look when it was he bought this. I wouldn't be surprised we're not past the 100-year mark on this land. And yeah, my granddaddy cut firewood. He done it a little different than me. I'm sure he hand-handled every piece. Probably with a cross-cut saw and an axe. How he cleared most of this. I don't know. I know my dad bought a chainsaw when he was senior in high school, and I don't think they had one before that. But I don't know for sure. Yeah, we're just gonna keep mowing here. I don't know why, but I'm making up a little bit on Dad here. Other fields we've been doing, we was going right at the same speed. I may have to look at my stop on my throttle. It may have got moved or something. Scott did get some baled, and Dakota got some baled last week. Scott baled all of his 40 acres north of his house, and he had fertilized it too, but he had also pastured it. That's the only difference between it and this. This has not been pastured last year. It may have to get pastured this year, the way it's dry and we're starting out here, but he didn't pasture his, and his made a bale and a half to the acre, which is 3/4 of a, no, yeah, 3/4 of a ton, 60 bales on 40 acres. It's just going to be a pretty disappointing hay crop. We're just trying to get enough to feed our varmints through the winter. Hopefully we won't have to start as early as we did last year, because we almost depleted everything last year. And Dakota baled 15 acres and made 20 bales. So he's still got a little more than half of his to bale, but he's trying to do it when he can be off from work. So he'll probably mow it on Friday evening and bale it on Saturday morning if it ain't raining or something. I'll get some more footage here in a little bit.
That we have to go around, and you can see the ground in under the grass there, and it's all dry and cracking. We have had a couple of places where I've run over crawdad mounds that are wet in the middle. Them crawdads mine up that mud in a hole, make a mound there. They don't bother these disc mowers. It usually really messes up when we use a sickle mower. There was nothing you could do about it, but get off the tractor, shut everything down, get off, and go clean it off with a mower. But this here, it just kind of keeps on going. I've identified a pretty serious oil leak on my tractor. I may run out of juice to where my steering quits after a bit, or my PTO, but I don't like all that much. If we get that other piece laid off, I might drive it up to the house and put another bucket of oil in it, just to make sure I can finish. But my hoses that go from the MCV to the oil cooler, one of them's leaking pretty bad, and there ain't gonna be no fixing it, I don't think. There'll be some old and hard. But that's just kind of the way it is with an old tractor. This tractor is over 40 years old. I kind of got a kick out of Russ Thomas the other day. His dad got a new disc mower, and Russ wasn't really doing a review of the disc mower, just showing it. And he's pulling it with a 1066, and he said something to the effect of they had used up 3 different mowers behind that 1066. These old tractors are that way, and they kind of just keep on going. Right here's that wet spot. I mean, there's usually so much water in it we cannot go through it. That was serious. We run over a coyote now. Serious. Just about to get done with this one. Won't be long now. The other little patch I don't think is more like 6 or 7 acres. If I get the mow over there, I'll give you some footage of that too. I may even take some film of what this mower really looks like. I suppose there are people that's watching that never have seen one. They think that underneath that tarp it's just a sickle cutting it, but it's a totally different animal. Beast is what it is. Well, we got it all mowed off. It's about 12:17. Deal said, and I think we got started just maybe a hair before 8 o'clock. So 2 of these 10-foot mowers, you can apparently get 40 acres mowed off in right around 4 hours, maybe a little more than 4 hours. That's what that bar looks like. Every one of them discs has 2 cutters on it, and on these they're old style, they're bolted on. That's a 10-foot 2, I think. It's just over 10 foot cut on this one. And it's got 8 of those discs in
And those discs spin in pairs to where they cut two discs cut on the same, kind of the same swath. And you can see that it leaves the hay in little rows, which is not as good as scattered out. Sometimes we'll use a tedder to scatter it out if we're having trouble getting it to dry, but we ain't gonna have no trouble getting this to dry. This will bail tomorrow, unless it rains. So, and I got some little patches, but I don't know if I'll mow in the morning, as I'll be in the tractor most of the afternoon baling this. And I got some work to do to the baler. But I had a wedding last night, and I didn't get in from the wedding till after midnight, so I'm pretty spent. It's hard. I'm ready to go to the house and eat me some breakfast. Nita said she had to bring me some oil. I put some oil in the thing because I seen it was leaking pretty bad. Maybe we'll look at that when we get up here at the house, but she said she had made biscuits and gravy. You know what? A cold homemade biscuits and gravy is better than a hot one on a day like today. I don't think it's 90 yet, but it's probably getting there. I'm feeling like it's 90. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm feeling 90. Woke up at 6 by a phone call. Guy called me and didn't even leave a message. I'm like, man, if you're going to call me at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're probably going to have to leave a message. But he ain't called me back, so I guess it ain't no big deal yet. Got a little old patch in here to mow. I'll mow this spots up here where I sometimes set bales at. Around the driveway, but I'll probably do all that tomorrow or the next day. I've got, I don't know, it can amount to 15 acres of little bitty patches up here on some ground north of here, and that'll be all I've got left to do for myself. So we'll see how that all pans out. Logger called me, Kevin, my buddy. He's ready to get back in the woods. He's like me. When I have to stop and do stuff like this, he can't be logging. Probably gets into his pocketbook. Gets into mine a little bit. I need to be in the woods so we can keep it going. Finish up a couple jobs we've got. That wasn't ideal. But here we are. Right there where I'm leaking at, and it's this hose back in there has got squirting against that. Everything above that is pretty dry except this little spot. That cylinder right there leaks some, but here's what it is. Guess we'll do a little maintenance this afternoon. See if I can get ready to make some more hay. Hey, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.